POTS is an ecosystem that connects two worlds, DeFi and prediction markets. On one side, we have the DeFi layer, liquidity, staking, bonds, and yield. On the other side, we have POTS market, a platform where users will be able to participate in prediction markets based on real-world events. The main idea is simple. POTS is not limited to generating yield inside DeFi. It also aims to create real utility through predictions, market volume, and information. When these two parts are connected, the ecosystem can generate more activity, more liquidity, and more long-term value. In summary, POTS combines liquidity plus information plus real participation in one ecosystem. POTS is divided into two main layers. The first one is POTS Money, which is the DeFi layer. This is where bonds, staking, liquidity, and yield come in. Its function is to activate capital inside the ecosystem and create a financial base. The second one is POTS Market, which is the real utility layer. Here, users participate in prediction markets based on real-world events, generating activity, volume, and useful information. The key point is that these two parts do not work separately. POTS Money provides liquidity and the DeFi structure. POTS Market provides utility, volume, and real activity. In summary, POTS Money activates capital. POTS Market creates utility. Together, they strengthen the entire POTS ecosystem. POTS works with a two-token model, IBS and POTS. IBS is the engine of the system. It is used for bonds, staking, liquidity, and rewards. It is an elastic token, meaning it can adjust according to the needs of the ecosystem, but in a controlled way. On the other hand, POTS is the long-term value layer. It has a fixed supply of 21 million, it is not inflationary, and it is designed to capture the value generated by the entire ecosystem. The difference is simple. IBS creates activity. POTS captures value. IBS moves the system day by day. POTS represents scarcity, governance, and long-term growth. That is why both tokens work together. One drives DeFi activity, and the other concentrates the value of the ecosystem. In POTS Money, there are two main ways to participate: bonds and staking. Bonds work by depositing USDT. The system divides that capital into two parts, 50% USDT and 50% IBS, and sends it to the liquidity pool. That is why bonds are important. They not only generate participation for the user, they also help create liquidity and strengthen the stability of the ecosystem. Staking works differently. Here, the user buys IBS in the market and then deposits it into staking. The key difference is this. Bonds create liquidity. Staking generates demand for IBS. Both mechanisms are useful, but they serve different functions. Bonds strengthen the base of the system, while staking drives demand for the IBS token. When a user withdraws, there is a contribution to the ecosystem. If the user chooses a slower release, the contribution is 10%. If the user chooses immediate release, the contribution is 30%. The important thing to understand is that this money does not disappear. That contribution is converted into BTCB, which works as collateral or backing for the POTS ecosystem. The more users participate and withdraw, the more BTCB can accumulate as backing. That is why this part is key. Each withdrawal also helps strengthen the base of the system. In summary, the withdrawal does not only release funds for the user, it also feeds the BTCB collateral that supports POTS in the long term. This slide explains how the daily distribution of POTS works. The system applies a daily reduction of 0.5% to the POTS/BTC fund. From that reduction, one part is used to create deflationary pressure. 80% is burned, meaning it leaves circulation and does not return to the market. The other 20% is distributed among active users, taking into account their VIP level and participation volume. The idea is to balance two things. On one side, reducing the POTS supply through burning. On the other side, rewarding those who help build the ecosystem. In summary, less supply, more incentives, and more active participation inside the system. Every time a swap is made, the system charges a total fee of 2.5%. From that fee, an important part, 2%, goes back to the ecosystem or treasury to strengthen IBS liquidity. This is important because each operation is not only an individual transaction. It also helps feed the DeFi base of pots. The more activity there is in the swap, the more flow can return to the system. In summary, each swap helps strengthen liquidity, improve stability, and support the growth of the POTS ecosystem. This table shows how network expansion works inside POTS. As a person develops more active subaccounts, they can move up to a higher VIP level. Each level increases the percentage of daily dynamic earnings in IBS. For example, VIP 1 starts with 10 active subaccounts and 5%. As the network grows, the percentage increases progressively until VIP 9, with 90%. In addition, all levels maintain a 10% POTS distribution, and there is also a 1% same-level reward. But there is an important rule. Daily rewards are limited to 10% of the user's own staking. In summary, a more active network can mean a higher level, a higher percentage, and more rewards, but always within a limit based on the user's real participation. This slide shows why POTS market is so important for the ecosystem. When the prediction market is active, users will be able to participate in real-world events, sports, crypto, politics, economics, and other categories. That activity generates volume, and that volume generates revenue for the protocol. A portion of that revenue is used to buy IBS directly from the pool. Then, that purchased IBS is burned, meaning it leaves circulation. This creates a positive effect. Less IBS supply, more liquidity in the system, and greater stability for the ecosystem. In summary, the more activity POTS market has, the more strength the DeFi layer of POTS can receive. This final slide summarizes the entire POTS value cycle. First, users participate in the ecosystem and generate activity. That activity produces revenue inside POTS market. Then, that revenue helps strengthen the liquidity of the system. Part of that flow is used to buy and burn IBS, reducing supply and helping improve stability. With more stability, confidence increases. And when confidence increases, more users can enter the ecosystem. That is the complete cycle. Activity, revenue, liquidity, burn, stability, confidence, more users. In summary, POTS aims to create a self-sustaining ecosystem where each part feeds the next one and where real activity becomes value for the entire system.